okay? Instead of like settle, push, hold. Let's go. Okay, does that make sense? It's like you're holding onto that tension as long as possible and then pow, let it go instead of like slowly releasing it and then, okay, I got to push my hands. That was a violent, like explosive move right there versus just like just falling into contact. Does that feel different?
Yeah.
Now imagine what happens when you see an off-speed pitch. If you've held on to this, okay, and then I go versus I've already committed and I got nothing to hold back. Does that make sense? All right. But watch what the arm does. As I go and I get ready to launch right there. And what I've done, I'm not trying to draw it like this. I've allowed the elbow to get under the hand. And when I get to right there, that scap has gone downward and pinched into the back of your ribs. So now from that position, as I turn, my arm doesn't move. So the elbow can actually rotate underneath, but the arm is going to stay in the same position in relation to my shoulder all the way through my turn. And then all I do is let that go to get to extension. If I'm trying to go up or I'm trying to go this way, I'm going to bury and use the wrong muscle groups, right? But if I feel that slight external rotation of my shoulder, there, let the elbow get just slightly under the hand. Because you see so many guys what they want to do. They want to climb the back elbow. That's not a position to fire from. There's guys in big leagues that do it. They get here, but if you watch what they do, they roll underneath. They don't go this way. It's not this movement. They'll pick up, like Baez is one I think about that gets that big high, but it's high, and then he rolls back into it. And then that scap is going to just roll down my rib. We're always very aware of the issues that happen out here because they're visible and you can see the results. But the problem is going to be somewhere back earlier in the sequence. All right, if you make a mistake in your load or how you make your forward move or where you get to a launch, that's where some of those problems are going to come up. So when we take a look at the video, the first thing I'm going to look at is why you pull your shoulder off. Because if you have a continual problem with it, there's a reason why. It doesn't just happen just because. Does that make sense? So we'll take a look at it so we can pull the video up, all right? The analogy that I use for especially the older guys, if you were going to squat or just stand here and somebody was going to have a barbell on your back and they just start stacking weight and stacking weight, you're not going to stand like a baby giraffe trying to get a drink. Like it's not
a strong position.
It's not a strong position. You're going to get crushed and you can't squat from there. There's no engagement in the backside of your body. You're not strong. But yet we land in a position here and then wonder why we have a hard time like using our lower half, holding the ground, holding direction, being balanced. There's like none of it can happen unless my body is in the position that it's going to be strong in. So if somebody was going to say, all right, I'm going to put 500 pounds on your back, I'm not going to get down here because I'm not strong there, all right? I'm going to be right there. That's where I'm stable. This is where like Ferbs could jump on my back and I'm not going to move. Okay, there's that barbells on my back. Now I'm stacked up. Look at the direction that my knees are actually pointing. As soon as I get there, I feel completely weak all through the outsides of my body. Here, I'm stacked, bro. Like, linebacker's coming at me, bro. I'm laying him down. Okay, so understand this difference. You're talking about the release of the barrel. The release of the barrel is what happens when everything stops. The barrel and your arms unfold. You feel like you're having to guide the swing, that you can't trust turning the swing loose when you have bad shoulder direction. Because the release of the barrel when the shoulders finally stop is over there. Right. But when your shoulders are working with good direction, you can slam the brakes on and trust that the barrel is going to release with plate coverage. Mm-hmm. That is when the swing starts to truly work. When you can trust that I can let go of the barrel, meaning I'm no longer trying to guide it through the zone because I know that I'm going to have good direction, good plate coverage, I'm not going to run out of barrel, that's when you start to have that effortless power. But when you have to feel like you hold on to the barrel, because if you do go ahead and let it go, it's going straight that way, that's when you're up there fighting against yourself. So by making sure that your shoulders work the right way, then you can start to trust that that's going to go ahead and get to the ball. You can be earlier, you can trust getting the fastballs, adjustability is easier, everything starts to work the right way, and then your mind calms down. So if you can let your mind calm down, then the game becomes even easier. It's all because you can trust letting this go instead of trying to hold on to it to make sure it covers the play. Okay? Good. All right, so what do you feel right there?
I could feel that I adjusted my brakes and I started them a little bit earlier and I was cool.
Right, so the first two, straight this way. Like the first one literally hit right there. Okay, so if you slam on the brakes, your body's going to stop at any point. Like it has to stop. Otherwise, you just spin yourself in a circle. But when and where you stop is going to determine when you get directional release of energy. Okay, that bat is going to show you where that happens. All right, so those first two, your arms felt like they were going that way, but what happened? Chest was facing this way because the hips didn't stop until you were all the way over here. Chest went with them. That's going to go that way too. Okay, do it again, and I want to see it helicoptering faster. Okay, use your bat. You ain't gonna break that ball back. Okay, I want to see it try to get that the same direction, but the bat spinning as fast as possible. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Can you feel how you literally like stop and then the thing just takes off? That's the feeling I'm looking for when you're swinging the bat. Okay. Hop. What, I mean, if you don't feel anything, that's fine. What do you feel?
Because I don't really feel balanced.
You don't feel balanced?
Yeah.
So that's part of the key of what I want is I'm wanting you to feel more stable back here and less reliant on your front leg to stabilize your body. Because what do? Land cushion, and you're trying to do everything from here, and we lose the backside. Right there, I'm taking your rear leg, which should be what's in control.
Right.
What should be stacked and should be able to balance your body until you fire, and forcing you to use it. By eliminating, I'm not trying to get you to go uphill.
Right.
Okay, so notice when you're set up, like I still want you trying to be centered, and the shoulder plane's still downhill. One thing I do want you to feel is when you go ahead and let that knee want to open up this way. You don't have to keep it still. But if you don't feel stable back here, it's exposing what we're running into where what do you want to do? Your move is this. You want to leak that rear knee a little bit early through the swing. I'm forcing you to stay stable. Otherwise, you literally fall down. That's why you feel unbalanced, okay? So although it's a little bit of an awkward position, all it's doing is exposing that fall that we have when you have 2 feet to swing from, okay? You can feel that. Let that front knee swing open just a little bit. I like that. How'd that feel?
A little bit cleaner.
Good. That's really clean. Where does the force that drives the swing come from? The ground. Let's go. Let's go. I did not expect that fast. Yes, it comes from the ground. It does not come from up here. Okay? Where all of y'all make mistakes with your lower half is you are trying to rotate from the middle of your body without applying force into your hips from the ground. Okay? What is connecting your hips to the ground? Your legs. Okay? My legs are what's going to drive my pelvis. Okay? I don't pull and rotate from up top. There's no power there. Okay? Otherwise, you'd be able to hit a ball just as hard if your feet weren't on the ground. Okay? And that's what you just made. You made that move where you went, okay, versus using the pressure here to start the swing with the back knee to drive the back hip. Does that make sense? If you start going like this, where it's rotate with no force applied, all right, A, you lose adjustability, B, you lose power, all right, and C, we lose direction, because now is where everything's starting to go. This way, okay? So we're not using like our lower back, all right, to pull on our hips, right? We're using the ground to apply force into our pelvis to turn it. Okay, the more you can think about that I'm using the force downward, which means if I sink in my legs, am I putting more force or less force in the ground? Less force, okay? It's now going out through my knees. I want to apply force by staying tall and then use that force as pressure into my hips to go. And when we do it, both knees should work together, okay? Where I see you guys get in trouble is this knee stays in, that knee caves in, instead of both knees working together. Does that make sense? Use the ground to apply the force into your hips instead of trying to turn your hips on their own. Okay, make sense? When we swing from here, we're gonna be 10 times stronger with less effort. It happens faster, with better direction. Where do we get in the habit of trying to swing from though? Where does it come from? Arms, shoulders, front, side, where we're trying to pull and drag the barrel through versus turning the core and moving the barrel with our big muscles. We're pulling the barrel and trying to use our arms and the front side of our back, okay? What I'm gonna show y'all is how much stronger you are with less effort when you use this than you are when you try to pull it. Okay, so watch this. Josh is gonna hold on to my arms, okay? I'm gonna set my angles and I'm gonna try to pull him forward with the front side of my body, okay? I'm gonna try as hard as I can. My neck cramps every time, okay? Can't budge him, right? All right, how much effort was I using? All of it, okay? Now what I'm gonna do, he's gonna hold on. I'm gonna set these angles, keep the effort out of my arms and my back, and all I'm gonna do is turn forward with my core. Okay, you ready? Okay? You see how the arms stay in the same angles, right? 235-pound dude that's really strong, he can't hold on to me. I'm not trying that hard, okay? Because I'm swinging from here and using my back to just hold my angles. Okay? Okay? We're thinking about the front arm working up and off our body, maintaining that bend, all right? And I'm really using my core to drive the swing, okay? Keep the effort down, focus on direction and delivering the barrel around the front hand. I'm so glad you're right. There are gonna be flaws in swings that play. Leave them alone, okay? Leave them alone, right? If we get so focused on making the swing look right on the video that we remove the hitter's confidence and ability to feel athletic in the box, they're gonna suck. They're gonna hit worse. So, velocity. In order to hit the ball that's going faster, what are we trying to do? We want to swing faster, swing harder? No. All right, if anything, we want to reduce effort. All right, we want to make sure we match speed with timing. Okay? What a pitcher throwing harder wants us to do is to increase effort, to try harder, because then what does it make it tougher to hit? Off speed. Okay, it also makes it tougher to hit velo when we get tight, when we try to go faster, all right, because everything tightens up. Barrel starts to drag, we're not gonna move efficiently, okay? What you have to learn how to do with velocity is trust your path. If we're trying to meet velocity out front, you're gonna get blown up, all right? Or you're gonna have to cheat and you're gonna have to expose yourself to off speed. What we're trying to do is get our body in a position on time and then trust that the barrel's gonna be in the way of it for a long enough period of time where we don't have to be perfect, okay? And that's what this is. I wanna be able to hit the ball anywhere within that window and still keep it fair, okay? Which means we have to have good direction and good path, right? If we try to meet the ball in a certain spot, right? Now you're rushing to that spot, we're gonna take bad paths, right? So if we're off just a little bit, we're in and out of the zone, now you're missing it. Versus get in the way of the thing for a really, really long time. You don't have to be going that fast, you just have to be in the way of it. So you can take a ball that you're a little bit late on and rocket it to right field, right? Or a ball that you're a little bit earlier on and freaking tank it pull side, right? Same pitch location, right? What you have to be able to feel though is trusting my timing instead of trying to speed everything up once you feel pitch pressure. Just trust it. Get your body into a good position and then let the barrel get in the way of the ball for you. What's gonna happen when the ball's going faster? It's gonna come off harder. I need to do less, right? And that's where hitters really get themselves in trouble is they feel that pressure. They're on deck going, oh man, they're throwing gas right now. I gotta try to do more to try to catch up. Anything like slow yourself down, move slower, and make sure you're on time with your body, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, all right, let's go. Hey guys, what pulls the ball? Like what? Okay, what else? That's great, being early. Okay, what else? Well, so we can pull the ball a bad direction, the incorrect way, we can pull it with good direction, the right way. The barrel angle and depth of contact is what's going to determine where the ball goes. Okay, so when we're pulling the baseball, we're not pulling it by leading our body that direction. We're trying to maintain good direction with the shoulders and then let the barrel angle work out in front of our hands to pull the ball. If we're trying to pull it with our body, that's when we're dragging, we have bad direction, we call it what's pulling off the ball. Okay, can you hit it that way? Yeah. Are you going to be able to translate that to a game? No, because then it leads to no adjustability. You're actually going to have a hard time keeping the inside pitch fair, right? Because we're working around the ball instead of actually behind and through it and then letting the barrel work out in front of us, okay? So if you watch the two differences, right, this is pull, leave it, all right? Sorry. Okay, so I'm trying to leave the ball with my body to create direction to pull it this way versus I'm gonna hold my direction with my shoulders, work behind it, and then let the barrel get out in front of me to pull it the right way. Okay, can y'all see that difference? All right, go a little more in. Okay, so my chest is working down, all right? I'm turning towards the middle of the field, and then I just let the barrel get out in front of me to pull it. That's where we create both pull side backspin so we don't hook it foul, maintain adjustability because if that ball actually runs away from me, I can still adjust because of where my body is, and that's also what creates natural elevation. Farther out front I hit it, all right, the higher it's gonna go because as my barrel works out front and planes off, it naturally elevates. But if I'm trying to do it with my body, I'm done. Okay, does that make sense? All right, cool. This is the path that your hands start on, okay? So when I land, right, and you could say that it's more like there, depending on how far away from the place you are, okay? So let's say that, okay? That's the line that my hands start on, okay? The farther a pitch away is, right, the sooner I have to extend and the less I'm gonna turn, okay? Which means my exit off of my initial path, where I launch from, is gonna be the earliest exit to go to the outside corner. This is why we have to make sure that we land at max stretch, have depth in our swing, and turn with good direction, okay? Because if we land and our hands come forward, we pass the exit to get to the pitch away, okay? So if this is my interstate, the pitch is away is the earliest exit, the middle pitch is gonna be the next exit, and the inside pitch is gonna be the last exit, okay? Meaning I'm gonna turn less and extend earlier to get to the outside pitch, and I'm gonna continue down the highway to the inside pitch, all right? And then the middle pitch, same thing. It's 1, 2, 3. If you go straight to exit 3, now you have no chance to get back to the outside pitch. This is where people lose direction. They don't understand why they can't hit an outside pitch out front. It's because they missed their exit early, right? If I lose direction in that initial move and those hands slide forward or I have bad direction with the shoulders, you have no choice but to let an outside pitch get really deep if you want to hit it. Because as the hands keep going, they're going to leave the zone because they had bad direction from the beginning. Does that make sense? Are y'all with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Outside, turn less, extend early. Middle, turn a little bit more, extend a little bit less, a little bit later. Inside, I may never extend, and I just keep turning.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he does that a lot.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Right, but you watch him on the outside pitch, he doesn't make that same move because he launches and then it's boom away, in. But if you go here, you're done over there. And you're also done with off-speed adjustability because these are already coming. You got one option, and that's that way. Okay? This is where guys will say, oh, you're coming around it or you're pulling up, whatever. It's your hands are not launching from a depth of in the swing. You're not launching here. You're launching, this is where you do. You land, and the hands come this way. Instead of I land, I stop, and I start to turn behind. Does that make sense? Okay? Okay, so what's been a big thing we talked about right there? Like what causes that flare? Like, does your barrel work like behind the shoulder, or do you start to push in? Yeah, so the feel can get you in trouble, right? Because as you start to fire, instead of your hands turning behind and behind the shoulder, you start to work backwards with the shoulder and push the hands in front. So now even though your shoulder's back, your barrel's still vertical, and then you cut down across it. That's where those flares to the left side of it come from. Make sure that back shoulder, number one, is going to be downhill at launch. Number two, the barrel is going to turn around it as you start to go forward, instead of you pushing backwards almost, and then the barrel's going to push in front. Because it feels like you're back, but you actually run out of space. Okay? The barrel's going to come behind as the shoulder moves forward. Right? Does that make sense? All right, see if you feel it. Much cleaner. Do you feel that difference? That's what I want to see. So you said you got to be early, right? What does early mean to you?
Like hitting it, like getting my barrel out more earlier.
Okay, so right, you just said it, right? You said your barrel out front. Okay, but when you get eager, what do you go forward with?
Like my whole body.
Your whole body. And what happens to your barrel?
Always like I get under it and lose power.
Well, it's behind you, so you're dragging. Okay, so understand this concept, guys, is being early does not mean I'm trying to go forward more. I think that's where we all get in trouble is, all right, I say go early, and I've seen you do it, and I've seen you do it, and we wind up doing this. And we try to go farther forward, right? Well, the problem is now we're out of control, we have no adjustability, right? And then we start to drag the barrel behind us. Go early doesn't mean do more. Go early means go early, right? The difference is being able to control your body so that you can go a little bit earlier without doing more, okay? If anything, when I go earlier, I want to try to do less, so I'm not crashing, okay? The concept of being early is simply trying to start my rhythm at a different time. It doesn't mean swing harder, it doesn't mean try to pull, it doesn't mean try to go farther forward. It just means take your normal rhythm early. The other thing that I try to really feel is when I'm trying to go early, I just think about getting the barrel in front of me more. So the more I focus on trying to get the barrel out in front, right, the more I'm going to focus on keeping my body back, okay? So back up for just a second. So watch the difference. If I go forward hard, right, I drag the barrel, I wind up hitting it behind me, okay? But if I focus on, I'm just going to get the head out and stay behind the baseball, okay? Now the barrel works out in front of me versus me trying to go get it with my body, okay? So I'm super early on that, but I still hit it hard because the barrel's working with good direction and I'm under control of my body. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so if I tell you go earlier, it doesn't mean go faster, okay? It doesn't mean go harder, it doesn't mean go more. It just means start your rhythm earlier. The other way that you'll screw this up, okay, and I see this all the time, is we go early, so we do this. So you start loading backwards earlier, but you're still not ready to hit. So we want to load, and we're just sitting here, and then we try to go forward late. It makes the problem even worse, okay? Make sure that if I say earlier, it's still stack and work forward, not just starting with, this is what you do. Okay, so when I tell you to go earlier, you end up going here, and then you still go late, instead of making that positive move to hit at a different time, okay? Does that make sense, guys? All right, cool. All right, so feeling your shoulder direction towards that outside pitch, okay? Part of your timing issues why you feel like you're a little bit late is because your barrel's only in the zone deep, all right? The only way to allow the barrel to work out in front of you is to create better shoulder direction, okay? So where you're at right now is once you fire, your shoulders start to work more parallel to the ground, so the hands fall. There's the only place that the barrel's covering the zone, and then we're working back across our body. The movement that we've got to change is maintaining that posture so that as you start to turn, watch the shoulder direction. Now we're going to go the direction we're swinging. Instead of shoulders going one way, hands going a different way. So watch the difference. So here's your move. All right, so I hit that ball deep off the end of the bat. All right, versus I'm going to stay down and focus on turning the direction that the pitch is. All right, a little bit late with better swing. Do you see the difference So one, I'm landing downhill working forward. The other, I'm up and back that direction. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. There you go. See if you can feel that. Me too. That's better. Much better posture. One more. All right, switch guys. WB. Hey, what's going on, guys? All right, so wanted to do a couple more drills for y'all that you can continue to do at home, trying to keep working to get better. One of the big things that we do in the stations, like outside the cage, when guys are trying to do field work, is we do a lot of one knee stuff. And the reason we do this is because you can really exaggerate the feel in your core, all right, and with posture, because anytime you start to lose your upper body, right, when you're on one knee, you don't have 2 feet to stabilize you the same way. All right, so it really allows the hitter to feel those movements. The other thing it does is you're really going to be able to feel your body stay still while everything turns around your spine versus wanting to move if we were on 2 feet. So the first one that I like to do is I've got the insider bat, the old goofy looking spatula. This thing looks funny, but when it's applied the right way, I really like it. And so what we're going to do is we get on one knee, think about keeping your belly button towards the pitcher, all right? So this is going to really feel that hip shoulder separation, all right? And when you go to turn back, we're going to rotate, try to feel that front hip stay open, and you really start to feel stretch like in this front groin, in your core, and then we're going to really feel that pull back to where I get to square. And when you get to that position, if you've left your hips open, you should feel a lot of stretch, all right? And then all I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to go check swing to contact, trying to maintain my angles as I turn. So you'll see if I'm up like this, the first thing I'm going to have to do is push my hands. I'm going to really feel that butt kick back. You notice the angle that I've now created, and all I'm going to think about is turning my window to contact, trying to keep my hand with my shoulder. Everything's going to turn together, and then I'm just going to hit a nice little soft check swing, trying to hold those angles as long as I can through. Okay, you'll see hands stay high, they stay with my shoulder. I'm not releasing my arms. All I'm doing is turning to contact, making sure I hold all those angles. All right, the other one that we do a lot of is top hand stuff, okay? It's the same concept, except now you're just isolating the back arm. All right, same feel. I'm gonna go rotate back, hold my front arm as if it was on the bat, all right? And I'm gonna try to keep the top hand with the back shoulder, except now I'm going to go ahead and release it instead of check swinging. Okay, and what I'm feeling is, again, shoulder and hand stay together, stay together, stay together, and then I'm just going to release it as the shoulders stop. All right, so last night in the Zoom class we talked about shoulder and hip deceleration. This is one of those places where you can feel this because the hips have nowhere to go. They're already still. You watch these two from the side real quick. All right, same concept. Insider bat. I'm going to get here, and I'm going to turn, boom, check swing to contact, same move. Okay, you notice how I maintain that nice spacing in here between my arms, holding those angles, and then top hand, holding on to it, and I'm going to release it, okay? And you can do this with wiffle balls, tennis balls, baseballs, doesn't really matter, all right, but it's going to give you the opportunity to isolate your core and your upper body while still feeling hip-shoulder separation and good posture, okay? Hope that helps, guys. Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so last night in the Zoom class, one of the things we covered was making sure that we turn high. And what that means is, as we go to pivot the barrel, as we make sure that the barrel starts to turn on plane, get connected with our shoulders, we want to make sure that this is happening at the top of the shoulders, because what happens with a lot of hitters is, as we start to go, the hands start to fall, all right, and now we're working back uphill through the zone, so we eliminate the ability to get to the high fastball, especially with velocity. So a couple of the drills that we touched on were using either a Frisbee or a PVC, your bat, or even a sledgehammer, which I'm going to show you in just a second, on how to make sure we feel this high turn. So with the Frisbee, all right, what we're trying to do is go ahead and get to that launch position, and then we're going to feel our arms pivot around that disc. So you can use a bucket lid, you can use a Frisbee, you can use, this is like a disc golf little disc. It doesn't really matter. Anything that you can feel that turn happen around a centered position, to get you to be able to see where you're turning. Because what a lot of guys are going to do is they're going to make this move and they're going to start to lose the hands early versus feeling that high connected turn. With the sledgehammer, this one is now going to get you to feel your back actually engaged. So it's eliminating the arms. And what we're going to feel is I can really feel that scap load. All right, and now as I turn, I'm holding onto the sledgehammer with my back and letting everything pivot high. And then it's going to just release the head through the zone as I release my scap, versus if I try to hold onto it with my arms, I'm going to get really pushy. So I can keep those arms loose, hold that back engaged, and feel that high connected turn. Now you add the resistance with the weight. It's really help you feel that move. So hope those help. We got another class tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Sunday night. Chase Headley, former San Diego Padre, New York Yankees